I stood in the doorway, my heart jackhammering in my chest, as I watched Emily laugh a little too hard at something Chad, yes, that Chad, whispered into her ear. Her hand lingered on his arm in a way no married woman should ever let happen. Not in public. Not anywhere. And definitely not at a party where half the guests knew she was my wife. My wife declared she was the prize. I muttered under my breath, fists tightening until my knuckles whitened, until I pulled back and forced her to prove her worth. I hadn't planned on coming tonight. Emily told me it was a girls' night out. Funny how her girls included a sweaty gym bro with sleeve tattoos and a cocky grin who couldn't keep his paws off my wife. I caught them at the Velvet Room, a bar she swore she hated. She once called it a trashy dive for desperate losers. Guess it became her new favorite when she needed somewhere dark enough to act like she wasn't married. I kept to the shadows, hands buried in the pockets of my jacket, tasting betrayal like blood in my mouth. I watched her tilt her head back, exposing the slender line of her neck the way she used to do just for me. Chad leaned in, whispering something into her ear that made her cheeks flush, not with anger, not with embarrassment, but with something far worse. Desire. I wasn't stupid. I knew that look. I knew that laugh. I knew the way her hand traveled up his arm, lingering near his shoulder, drawing circles like some teenage girl with a stupid crush. That's when I knew. Without her even touching him the way a lover touches a man, ing knew. The next moment hit me like a train. Chad's hand slipped down the small of her back, bold, possessive. Emily didn't flinch. She leaned into it, leaned into him. And when he nuzzled into her hair, pressing a kiss just above her ear, she closed her eyes and smiled. My wife, my Emily, smiled for another man like that. It took every ounce of willpower not to charge across the room and beat him into a greasy stain on the floor. But no, not yet. I wanted proof. Undeniable, cold, soul-shattering proof. The kind that leaves no room for her silver-tongued lies. I needed her to hang herself with the rope she so gleefully wrapped around her neck. I snapped a photo. Just one. Flash off. Quick. Clean. Evidence. I left before she spotted me. Rage boiled under my skin like lava. I drove home on autopilot, white-knuckling the steering wheel, every mile a fight to keep from turning back and burning the whole damn bar down. At home, I stared at our wedding photo on the mantel. She looked so beautiful that day, bright-eyed, innocent, head full of promises. I thought we were invincible. I thought we mattered. I thought wrong. The door creaked open 2 hours later. She came stumbling in, reeking of tequila and cheap perfume that wasn't hers. Emily giggled as she kicked off her heels, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. Hey, babe, she slurred, tossing her purse onto the couch like she hadn't just sold her soul for a cheap thrill. Missed you tonight. Missed me? Was that a joke? I said nothing. I just watched her, really watched her. The way her lipstick was smudged. The way her blouse was misbuttoned. The way she smelled like a stranger's cologne. And she still smiled like the devil himself. That night, lying stiff in our bed while she snored beside me, I made a decision. If she thought she was the prize, fine. It was time to see how she performed when she had to earn the title. Because from now on, I wasn't handing out loyalty to someone who couldn't even fake respect. She wanted to be chased? Let's see how she handled being the one left chasing. And God help her when she realized she was already too late. The next morning, I acted normal. Or at least, I tried. Made coffee. Read the news. Smiled when she came down in one of my shirts like nothing had happened. She kissed my cheek, lips sticky with yesterday's sins, and chirped about brunch with her girls. I nodded. Played dumb. But inside, something had snapped. Something permanent. I waited until she left, then went to work. Not my real job, that could wait. My real job now was uncovering every disgusting thing she had hidden behind her fake smiles. First stop, her laptop. She wasn't exactly a tech genius. A few guesses at her password, our anniversary, seriously? And I was in. At first, nothing jumped out. Work emails. Pinterest boards full of home decor dreams. Then I found the hidden folder. Buried under layers of fake tax documents, there it was, hundreds of messages. Not just with Chad. With multiple men. Some local. Some she met on her so-called business trips. Names I didn't recognize. Flirty texts. Hotel bookings. Even photos. Disgusting, shameful photos. Photos that scorched themselves into my brain. Images I could never scrub clean no matter how hard I tried. She had a whole other life. A dirtier, nastier, lower version of herself that she paraded around when she thought no one was looking. I sat there, fists trembling, as wave after wave of betrayal slammed into me. She hadn't just made a mistake. This wasn't a drunken one-night slip. This was a pattern, a choice, over and over again. And all the while, she still came home to me, slept in our bed, made plans for our future. I should have felt rage, pure, red-hot fury. But sitting there, staring at her lies in black and white, I just felt hollow. A man can only burn for so long before there's nothing left but ashes. My phone buzzed. It was her. Emily. Hey babe, just finished brunch. Might stay out a little longer. Love you. I stared at the screen. The audacity. The pure, venomous gall. Love me? Love? I laughed. A sharp, bitter sound that felt foreign in my own throat. Fine, Emily. Stay out as long as you want. Because when you come back, you're walking into a different battlefield. I started gathering more evidence. Screen capping every filthy message, every hotel receipt, every timestamp. It wasn't enough to know. I wanted her lies pinned to the wall like a trophy. I wanted her to see what she had become. And I wanted her to beg. I wasn't the same man who married her. That man was gone. Buried under years of loyalty wasted on a woman who saw me as just another sucker to string along. She thought she was the prize? Good. Because now the prize was about to learn what it felt like to be worthless. By the time she stumbled back home, fake laughing about some mimosas gone wrong, I was ready. I greeted her with a smile. A real one. Because nothing tastes sweeter than the calm before the storm. She dropped her purse by the door, wobbling slightly in her heels. You won't believe the drama today, Emily said, tossing her hair over her shoulder like she was some teenage queen bee. Tara got into it with the bartender. Total mess. I leaned against the kitchen counter, arms crossed, watching her spin her web of lies with effortless ease. She had no idea the hammer was about to drop. Oh yeah, I said, my voice steady. Sounds wild. She grinned, kicked off her shoes, and padded over to the fridge. You're not mad I stayed out so long, are you? She asked sweetly, grabbing a bottle of water. I deserve a little fun too, you know, being the prize and all. There it was. That damn word again. Prize. I straightened, the muscles in my jaw clenching so hard it hurt. She thought she was so clever, throwing that in my face. Like I should be lucky to have her. Like I should thank her for gracing me with her cheating, lying existence. Yeah, I said quietly, walking toward her. You deserve a lot of things. Her smile faltered. For a flicker of a second, she sensed it, the change in the air, the way the ground under her feet was starting to crack. I pulled out my phone and tossed it onto the kitchen island between us. The screen lit up, displaying a collage of her dirty little secrets. Messages. Photos. Receipts. Proof. Why don't you tell me about Chad? I said, my voice low, almost conversational. Or maybe Marcus. Or Jason. Or the guy from the Marriott 3 months ago. I'm curious. Which one is the lucky one tonight? The color drained from her face faster than blood from a wound. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. You're misunderstanding. I barked out a laugh, sharp and humorless. Misunderstanding? Emily, I'm staring at AF************************************************************************* There's more variety here than a damn buffet. She took a step back, clutching the water bottle like it might shield her from the truth. It's not what it looks like. Oh, I said, stepping forward. Then tell me what it is, Emily. Educate me. She hesitated. And then, God help her, she smiled. That smug, cruel little smirk that used to be reserved for people she thought were beneath her. You got lazy, she said, voice dripping venom. You stopped trying. I deserve attention. I deserve excitement. You should be thanking me for not walking out a long time ago. I stared at her, genuinely stunned for a moment. She wasn't even trying to deny it. She was justifying it, spitting in my face with words dipped in acid. And Chad, I said, voice trembling not from fear, but from the sheer force it took not to put a hole in the wall. Was he exciting enough for you, Em? Was sneaking around, acting like some cheap dime store princess, thrilling enough? Her eyes blazed. At least he treats me like I matter. You think I'm supposed to be grateful you come home every night and sit there like some boring, tired old man. Old man. I was 34. Meanwhile, she was out chasing gym rats and wannabe rock stars like some desperate groupie clinging to her fading youth. I stared at the woman in front of me, the woman I once thought was my soulmate, and realized she wasn't even capable of remorse. There was no regret, no shame, just bitterness and blame. Get out, I said, my voice deadly calm. Get your things and get the F*** out of my house. She scoffed, tossing her water bottle into the sink with a clang. Fine. I don't need this. I don't need you. She stormed off to the bedroom, slamming drawers and shoving clothes into a bag with furious, sloppy motions. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching the scene unfold like a man watching the last act of a play he already knew by heart. When she brushed past me, duffel bag slung over her shoulder, she muttered under her breath, "You'll regret this." I didn't move, didn't blink. Just let her walk out of my life the same way she had walked out of our marriage, carelessly, arrogantly, without a second glance. The door slammed, and for the first time in a long, long time, I breathed. The silence after she left was deafening. Not peaceful, not comforting, just empty. I sat down on the edge of the couch, elbows on my knees, staring at the floor like it could offer some kind of answer. The house smelled like her perfume, sickly sweet and cloying, making my stomach twist. Every corner of the place felt contaminated, like I was living inside the rotting corpse of a life we once built together. The weight of everything came crashing down all at once. The lies, the humiliation, the years wasted on someone who thought loyalty was optional. I gritted my teeth, blinking hard. No tears. She didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve another ounce of my emotion. But that didn't stop the rage clawing at my insides like a wild animal, shredding every memory we ever made together into bloody strips. I thought about the first time I met her. How she smiled at me like I was the only man in the world. How she laughed at my stupid jokes. How she promised me forever. And all the while, she had a knife tucked behind her back, waiting for the perfect moment to plunge it into my spine. I stood up abruptly, the sudden movement knocking a picture frame off the coffee table. It shattered on the floor, glass spraying like tiny shards of betrayal. I didn't even flinch. Let it break. Let it all break. I couldn't stay here. Not tonight. Not wrapped in the ghosts of a marriage that died long before I had the guts to admit it. Grabbing my jacket, I walked out into the cold night, letting the door slam behind me. The streets were almost deserted, the city buzzing quietly under the weight of 1,000 silent betrayals happening behind closed doors. Funny how life kept moving, even when yours was crumbling apart. I ended up at an old dive bar we used to go to before she decided she was too good for places like that. Before she decided she was a prize that deserved 5-star restaurants and rooftop cocktail lounges. The bartender, a gruff-looking guy named Pete, nodded as I slid onto a stool. No small talk. No fake sympathy. Just poured me a whiskey and left me alone. I stared into the glass, the amber liquid catching the light like fire. What was I even mourning? The woman? Or the dream? Because Emily, the real Emily, wasn't some innocent victim of circumstance. She didn't trip and fall into another man's bed by accident. She made a choice. Again and again and again. A choice that screamed I was never enough for her. I swallowed the whiskey in one hard gulp, feeling it burn all the way down. It didn't fix anything. It didn't even dull the ache. But it was something to hold on to. Something real. Unlike her. Around midnight, I stumbled back home, the booze doing little to steady the chaos inside me. The house was exactly the same, neat, cozy, deceptively perfect. A stage set for a love story that turned into a horror show. I sat down on the edge of the bed we used to share, the mattress still warm from her body just hours earlier. My stomach twisted in disgust. I grabbed the pillows, the sheets, everything she touched, and dragged them into the backyard. Piled them high. Drenched them in lighter fluid I found in the garage, and lit the match. The fire roared to life, greedy and wild, devouring every trace of her. I stood there, watching the flames dance, feeling the heat lick my skin. Let it burn. Let all of it burn. Neighbors peeked through their windows, but I didn't care. Let them watch. Let them see what happens when you betray someone who loved you with everything he had. When the fire finally died down, leaving only smoking ashes behind, I stood there in the cold until the sun started to rise, turning the sky a bruised, broken purple. It was over. Not just the marriage. The illusion. The fantasy. The man I had been with her, desperate, forgiving, hopeful, was gone too. And in his place was someone new. Someone who wasn't going to beg for love anymore. Someone who was ready to rebuild alone if necessary. Because anything was better than living as a fool under the same roof as a woman who thought loyalty was optional. The first few days after she left were brutal. Not because I missed her, but because everything reminded me of what a goddamn idiot I'd been. Her stupid coffee mug was still in the sink. Her shampoo still lined the shower like she might walk back in and start humming some god-awful pop song. The scent of her lotion still clung to the towels. It felt like living in the aftermath of a storm that ripped the roof off your house. You're left standing there, looking at the wreckage, wondering how you could have been so blind to the cracks before the whole thing collapsed. I didn't answer her calls, didn't reply to her messages. They came in waves, first casual, then angry, then desperate. Emily, can we just talk? Emily, you're being immature. Emily, you're ruining everything for no reason. Emily, I miss you. Miss me? I laughed out loud when I read that one, a dry, bitter bark that echoed through the empty house. She missed the version of me who bent over backward to please her. The version who took her disrespect and betrayal and still called it love. She missed the doormat, not the man. And that man was dead. Still, there were moments when the weight of everything crashed over me hard. When the silence became too loud. When the memories clawed their way up from the depths and wrapped around my throat. I didn't drown. I fought. Every morning I got up, even when it felt pointless. I hit the gym harder than I ever had. I started cooking my own meals instead of ordering takeout like we used to. I called old friends, the ones she pushed me to drift away from because they weren't good enough for her new image. And slowly, piece by broken piece, I started reclaiming my life. Then came the email. It hit my inbox 3 weeks after she left. Subject, we need to talk about us. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity, that dangerous, treacherous thing, got the better of me. She wrote like nothing had happened. Like we were just going through a rough patch that could be patched up with a date night and some half-assed promises. She said she missed our life, missed how things used to be, and wanted to work through our issues. Issues. She called her trail of hookups issues. I stared at the screen, feeling the familiar rage rising like a tide. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even capable of being sorry. To her, love was just a game she played to win attention, to feel adored, to avoid facing the black hole inside her that no man could ever fill. I didn't reply. Instead, I started making plans. Real plans. Not for revenge. Not yet. For freedom. I met with a lawyer the next day, a no-nonsense woman named Jenna who looked at the mountain of evidence I brought her and shook her head slowly. She's going to lose a lot more than just a husband, Jenna said, tapping the stack of printed messages. Good. She deserved to lose everything she took for granted. Emily thought she was the prize. She was about to find out what it felt like to be left off the shelf, gathering dust while better things, better people passed her by without a second glance. When I walked out of that office, divorce papers in hand, I felt lighter than I had in years. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the *****ing beginning. And Emily? She was just another chapter one was glad to slam shut forever. The papers were delivered to her a few days later. Jenna made sure of it. Hand-delivered, not mailed. No way for Emily to pretend she didn't see them. I waited. I knew the storm was coming. And sure enough, it didn't take long. My phone exploded with messages first. Emily, WTF is this? Emily, are you seriously doing this? Without even talking to me. Emily, we are married, you asshole. Then the calls. I didn't answer. I pictured her pacing whatever sad little apartment she was crashing in, throwing a tantrum like a child who just got told no for the first time in her life. Probably tossing her phone against the wall. Probably blaming everyone but herself. It felt good. It felt right. But Emily wasn't the type to take losing quietly. She showed up at my house the next day. I heard the frantic pounding on the door before I even made it downstairs. She was screaming my name like a banshee, voice raw, demanding that I let her in. For a moment, I just stood there behind the door, watching her through the peephole. Her makeup was smeared. Her hair was wild. She looked nothing like the cold, polished woman who once told me she was the prize. Now, she just looked desperate. Pathetic. I opened the door just enough to lean against the frame, arms crossed. Calm. Silent. She shoved her hand against the door like she was trying to force her way in, but I didn't budge. You can't do this, she shrieked, tears streaming down her cheeks. You're throwing everything away over some stupid mistake. Mistake. I raised an eyebrow, not saying a word. Her voice dropped into a whine. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I was lonely. You never made me feel special anymore. I needed to feel wanted. I almost laughed. Needed to feel wanted? She needed a line of sweaty strangers to remind her she had value? No, Emily. You needed validation like an addict needs a fix. And you destroyed everything real for a few cheap highs. I don't owe you anything anymore, I said finally, voice like ice. Not my time. Not my loyalty. And definitely not another *****ing chance. She gasped like I had slapped her. Good. She deserved worse. She tried again, switching tactics because that's what people like her do. She dropped to her knees, grabbing the hem of my jeans, sobbing, begging. "Please," she cried. "We can fix this. I'll change. I swear. Just give me one more chance. Don't throw us away." There was a time when that would have broken me, when her tears would have felt like knives. But now, they were just noise. I leaned down, pried her fingers off me one by one, and stepped back. "You threw us away the first time you let another man put his hands on you," I said. "I'm just taking out the trash." Her face twisted, rage bleeding through the fake sorrow. "You'll regret this," she screamed as I closed the door in her face. Maybe, but I doubted it. Because for the first time in years, I was choosing myself. Not the fantasy. Not the lies. Not the broken promises. Me. And if she couldn't handle that? 2F ****ing bat. I sat back down on the couch, pulled up the list of realtors Jenna had given me, and started planning the next chapter. Selling the house. Starting fresh. Building something that wasn't infected by her betrayal. Something real. Something mine. And this time, no one would be able to tear it apart but me. 2 weeks later, she tried again. This time through her mother. I got a knock on the door, and when I opened it, there she was, Diane, standing on my porch like a ghost from a past life I wanted nothing to do with. She held a casserole dish like it was a peace offering, like some homemade lasagna could erase what her daughter had done. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice soft, rehearsed. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, waiting. She didn't waste time. "She's sorry, you know," Diane said. "Emily's been lost. She made mistakes, but she still loves you. You were the best thing that ever happened to her." Mistakes. Love. The same tired script. I said nothing, just let her talk. Let her twist herself into knots trying to make the unforgivable sound forgivable. "She's been crying nonstop," Diane continued, her voice cracking. "She's not eating. She's not sleeping. She's scared she ruined her life. She did ruin her life. I just happened to get caught in the blast radius." Finally, I pushed off the doorframe, staring down at her, making sure every word hit like a hammer. "I didn't destroy her life," I said. "She did that all by herself. And she doesn't love me. She loved the way I made her feel about herself. There's a difference." Diane's face crumpled, but I didn't care. Not anymore. I thanked her for the lasagna, shut the door in her face, and dropped the dish straight into the trash without even opening the lid. I was done letting their poison into my house, into my life. A few days later, I made my final move. I posted everything. Not publicly. I wasn't interested in putting on a show. I wasn't that petty. But I made sure every man she had been messaging, every backup plan she kept on the line, got a little taste of the real Emily. Screenshots, dates, context, all neatly packaged and sent anonymously. I wanted them to see who they were really dealing with. I wanted them to understand that the woman who flirted with them like a free prize from a vending machine was nothing but a broken mirror, reflecting whatever they wanted to see until the glass cut them open. The fallout was nuclear. Within a week, her social media turned into a ghost town. No more smiling selfies. No more inspirational quotes about self-worth. Just radio silence. Good. Let her sit in the wreckage for once. Let her feel the emptiness she had spent so long trying to outrun. Meanwhile, I kept moving forward. Sold the house for a good price. Packed my things. Found a new place, smaller, simpler, but untouched by lies. Untouched by her. I filled it with things I liked. Furniture I chose. Art that made sense to me. No compromises. No pretending. It felt like breathing for the first time after being trapped underwater for years. And as I sat on the balcony of my new place one night, whiskey in hand, watching the city lights blink like tiny stars, I realized something. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her anymore either. I just didn't care. And that was freedom. Real freedom. The kind no betrayal could ever take away from me again. A few months later, I ran into her by accident. It was a random Saturday afternoon at the grocery store. I was grabbing some basics, not thinking about anything but what brand of coffee to buy, when I turned a corner and there she was, standing by the produce section, picking over apples like her whole world hadn't burned to the ground. For a second, neither of us moved. She looked older somehow. Thinner. Makeup caked on heavier than before, like she was trying to plaster over the cracks. Her smile faltered when she saw me, like she didn't know what expression to wear now that she didn't own the role of wife anymore. I gave her a nod. Polite. Distant. Like you would to a stranger you barely recognize. Her eyes widened slightly, like she was waiting for me to come over. Maybe she thought we'd have a heart-to-heart. Maybe she thought she could flash that old fake smile and drag me back into her orbit. But I didn't stop. I just kept walking. Because that chapter was closed. Sealed. Buried so deep it might as well have been another lifetime. Outside, the sun was blinding, the air crisp. I took a deep breath and realized there was no bitterness left in me. No anger. No sadness. Just clean, clear space where all the noise used to live. I learned a lot from Emily. I learned that loving someone isn't enough if they don't love you back the right way. I learned that loyalty given to the wrong person isn't noble, it's self-destruction. I learned that sometimes, the best revenge isn't rage or humiliation. It's living well, living free. And if there's one thing I'd tell any man going through the hell I survived, it's this. Don't beg her to stay. Don't try to fix a woman who doesn't want to be fixed. When someone shows you their true colors, when they spit on everything you built together, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away without looking back. Because she's not the prize. You are. Always were. You just forgot for a while. And now? Now, you remember. And there's no greater victory than that.